Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by the Canadian-Ukrainian Legal Alliance. My name is Mikita Zhukov, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here. We have an exciting session planned for you today, focusing on alternative legal careers, about legal operations. Our guest speaker today is Sara Ajmi, the Legal Operations and Technology Manager at TELUS. Sara, nice to meet you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Sara Ajmi, an internationally trained lawyer and a former in-house counsel in Morocco, relocated to Canada in late 2019. Starting as a paralegal and board secretary assistant, she navigated the requalification process before a transition to legal operations. Sara's expertise and passion have passioned her as a thought leader and content creator in legal ops, frequently sharing valuable insight on LinkedIn for those looking to enter the field. We're also joined by co-founder and co-moderator Zach Elfstrom. How are you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing well. You?
Yeah, pretty good. So before we dive into today's topic, I'd like to briefly introduce our organization, the Canadian-Ukrainian Legal Alliance. Our mission is to connect and empower Ukrainian and Canadian legal professionals through collaboration, professional development, and the exchange of knowledge and ideas. We aim to build up the ties between Canada and Ukraine and contribute to the growth of both nations' legal professions. One of our key goals is to assist foreign lawyers in their requalification process, and we are not limited to Ukrainian lawyers only. We also focus on promoting information about alternative legal careers. To start off, I will pass the floor to Zach, who will cover the first 5 questions. Zach, over to you.
Thanks so much, Mikita. And thank you, Sara, for being with us today. So why don't we jump right in with the questions? And to start, can you tell us a little bit about your career as an internationally trained lawyer? And did you consider requalification when you arrived in Canada?
Thank you, Zach, for the question. So first of all, again, thank you so much for having me today. I'm very happy to be with you. Thank you for all the attendees. So Zach, to answer your question, it's a very good one. When I first came to Canada in December 2019, I didn't know that there is something called the requalification process. I learned that just by chance, thanks to a colleague of my husband, who was a lawyer in a civil law jurisdiction in Tunisia, like North Africa, and who told him about the requalification process. And it was, I think, 10 days before COVID. I remember it was, I think, the beginning of March. And I started. It was that time that I started the requalification process. I submitted the request, and so yes, I considered the requalification process. And Zach, did you ask about the challenges?
Well, yeah, we were going to go there. What
Okay.
are some of the barriers you've noticed for internationally trained lawyers here in Canada?
Yeah, so first of all, when I considered the requalification process, I was based in Toronto at that time, because now I'm based in Ottawa. And I saw that there is a high activity in terms of the access to law school. And again, just as a reminder, or more context, asked by the NCA to go back to school from scratch and do all the matter, the subjects, and it was like extra steps for me compared to other internationally trained lawyers coming from a common law jurisdiction. So I think the first barrier, I don't know if this will make sense, but yes, because I'm coming from a civil law jurisdiction, I would say the system is totally different. Even in terms of how I can showcase I am a best candidate to the law school, I didn't know how to. Like I didn't have I wasn't involved in kind of academic or extra curricular, like the extra academic activity. I didn't have that. And another thing is the language. So the kind of the jurisdiction, I was in a civil law jurisdiction, and all my studies were in French. So and when I was in Toronto, everything was in English. And so this added another layer of difficulty and challenge. And at the end of the day, I told myself, but it took me 2 years. Like I tried to access law school. I tried networking. I remember I've talked to more than 22 or 23 students that time, or fellows. And each one, like, they shared with me their insights, they shared with me their experience. But at the end of the day, it took me like 2 years to conclude that this path is not for me. Okay, I was designed maybe to practice law in Morocco, but that's fine if this path I won't pursue it here in Canada. New life, new career, that's fine. But it took me 2 years.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for sharing that with us. And then you fell into legal operations. And before we talk a little bit about what that is, can you tell us about how you pivoted into this field?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I would say, on like, long story short, by accident. But before pivoting into legal operations, I would like to remind, like, the attendees that even if it's by accident, I would say accidentally on purpose. Because when I was exploring, like, my next career move and everything, I enrolled in a certification in legal design. Just by curiosity. Like, I would say, okay, it has the legal, so it would help me in some way. And so I enrolled in this certification, and it was like an aha moment, because at that time I really discovered that there are some positions not traditionally legal. And because I was in a cohort with some participants who have a title like legal project managers. This was the first time I will hear this title. I remember someone in the Netherlands who used to have a job title called legal technologist, and it was like, whoa, oh my God, what's this? And so this is when I started, like, to calm down. I started to calm down and say that, look, there are some other paths that you can pursue. And then I with the legal design certification, I looked in the available positions, and I didn't find something called legal designer or any other position where they require legal design. And then I said, okay, let's try something else. Like, because at that time I was working as a paralegal in a legal department back in Toronto, and I didn't want to pursue the traditional legal tasks. I didn't want it. Like, I didn't want legal research. I didn't want to answer legal questions. I didn't want to review I didn't want this anymore. And I wanted something, the how-to of the legal practice, not the legal practice, but the how-to, like the operational side, the systems, the processes, and everything. And I went back, and I started to look at certification like legal process improvement, legal project managers. But then when I look at the available, like the market, what is required in the market, I didn't see that. So why I would enroll in something that is not required, or that is not even available in the markets? And then I had to relocate to Ottawa, and I had to change the job. And I was looking, and I found something called, this is my previous role. The title was operational specialist, legal affairs. And I didn't know what it is. Like, what does it mean? But in terms of the job description, it says being responsible for our matter management system, being responsible for the NDA process, build up new projects, work with cross-function, like in a cross-functional way with other departments. And I was like, yeah, this is what I really want to do. And so this is how I ended up in a legal operations job, without knowing. Like, I didn't know I am in legal ops. I didn't know that legal ops exists. I didn't know it has a name.
And I guess now, speaking about legal ops, I guess, what is legal operations? And what are some of the typical tasks and responsibilities of someone working in legal ops?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So to put it simple, legal operations is a new, I would say like new, it's a relatively new industry, but it's very evolving. It's a fast growing industry, and what is it is the application of business and operations techniques such as process improvement, project management, business intelligence, legal technology, strategic planning. So all the big business areas, we apply them to increase the efficiency and maximize the productivity of a legal department. And here, maybe some of the attendees or you would say, oh, okay, so maybe is this only related to the legal departments? I would say no, because when it first appeared, it was applicable only to legal departments. But now we clearly see more and more legal operations professionals within law firms. So we have legal operations within in-house legal departments, but also within law firms. And I would refer here to something that is called the CLOC, Core 12. So what is CLOC? CLOC is the organization that structures or that is like for legal ops professionals. It's called CLOC. So it's a consortium of legal corporate legal operations consortium. So it is like this, and the Core 12 are like a business model or a metrics, and I can definitely share with you the link in the chat, and it has all the focus areas of legal operations, and like with very straightforward and simple explanation of each of them. And of course, like we have another matrix from another organization called legalops.com. So here is it for our attendees. So yeah, like legal operations is everything that more business and operations that we could apply to maximize the efficiency, the productivity, the effectiveness of legal teams.
That's so great. Thank you so much. And what kind of personalities and backgrounds do you think would be attracted to this kind of work?
Parts in your question, but I would be very happy to answer them. So the first part is personalities. So this is a very good thing that you mentioned, because I personally believe that yes, all backgrounds are welcomed, like could be an asset to the legal ops, but maybe we can filter them by personality, you know. So for example, in terms of personality, I think there are a lot of personality traits that are linked or tied to a legal operations professional, but I would just share with you some of them. For example, the first one, I strongly believe it's very crucial, is having a growth mindset. And so, you know, it's very important to know that to think and believe that it's okay to start small and to improve during the process. So we're not having a fixed mindset, not being stuck to a specific or a unique way of doing, but be open and be able and be eager to improve by the time. Another one that is very important is curiosity. So for example, for me, I'm someone very curious, like naturally I'm curious. I want to know the details. Even back when I was practicing as in-house counsel, when I was doing a legal review, a contract review, I was more in, okay, who is working with us on this contract? Who gonna get this contract? What is the process? So I was more in the process and the steps and behind the scenes of the contract, more than the actual legal tasks. And another one, it's very important, is the intrapreneurship. It's very important because we need like the legal operations space need people who take ownership of their portfolio, who are able to make decisions on their own portfolio and not to be dependent to someone else. And another one is I said like curiosity. I said I have them in my notes, so don't worry. Resilience is very important because it's this ability to adapt, recover, and thrive in like when you face challenges, disruptions, or changes in your day-to-day job.
Perfect. And is there any specific background other than a legal background that you see people coming from in particular?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to answer this one. Thanks for the reminder. So I would say there is no unique career path. There is no standardized career path to legal ops. I remember I've done a research on more than 100 legal ops professionals on LinkedIn, and I did kind of like a map. You know, the map of Rome, like the adage that says all roads lead to Rome, and I said all roads lead to legal ops, and I find everything. I remember I found everything. I found people coming from, of course, the legal industry. They were legal assistants. They were in-house counsel. They were paralegals. They were contract managers and legal analysts. Everything. And then they have another, like the non-legal space. For example, data analysts, process people, technologists, like everything. Because I think this is what makes the legal operations field very diverse, or the legal operations community very diverse in terms of skill sets.
Thank you so much for those insights. So now I'm going to pass it on to Makita, who's going to continue with the Q&A session. Makita, it's all you.
Thank you, Zach. Sarah, you recently made a post about upskilling and how it is not always necessary. What can you tell us about that? Do you think it's necessary to upskill to enter the legal ops field? If so, what skills are useful?
Yeah, this is a very good point, Nikita. Thank you so much for this, because I see, and this is again a personal belief. I see a misconception here. For example, people who want to work for the first time in legal ops, and then they want to transition their career to legal ops, they automatically think that this is a new career, so I need new skills. And this is not true. Because whenever I speak to someone, they ask me, okay, what are the skills I need to build up? Is there any training I should enroll to? I want to learn more about, yeah, you can learn about legal ops, but no need to try to upskill or try to build new skills so that you can get into legal ops. Because I strongly believe this happened to me twice. And this happened to all the legal operations leaders out there, like in all the world, who ended up in legal ops by chance. It's your background, it's your previous experience who will lead you to legal ops, and not like just a specific skill. I will give you an example. If today I would say I want to learn about, I would say, I want to learn about legal technology, and I go and I enroll in forget about this example. I want to learn about financial management, because most of legal operations positions, they require financial management skills. I did that. I get my certification or my course or my credentials and everything. But then I started to work in a legal operations position, not requiring financial management, but it's more requiring project management, legal technology that I already have. For example, I used to work with systems. I used to coordinate projects, and this is part of project management. So this is why I don't think that we need to focus on building new skills. I say, however, I think that when you start in legal ops, like after you get your job in legal ops, this is when you should be ready to learn each day. There is no limit to the learning, and you are already in a continuous learning journey. I want to share kind of the top skills that are crucial in terms of legal ops, but this doesn't mean that you need to have them before getting into legal ops. So the first one is project management, because we are all the time working on projects, all the time. Even if the project is 1 month, it's a project. It's called a project when you have a goal to achieve. Whenever you have a goal to achieve, and that's it, you're gonna start another thing. This is a project. So project management skills are very important, like defining the scope of the project, the stakeholders, the resources, and everything. So this is very important. Financial management, they are not all the time required. For example, in my current job, my portfolio doesn't include the finance or the budgets. It's my colleague who is responsible for this specific portfolio. Legal technology, yes. So, and by legal technology, please don't misunderstand it. Like, don't think that you need to go to learn a specific legal software. No, like, I remember they asked me in interviews, are you familiar with this specific software? And I said, no. I don't know this specific software, but I worked on other softwares, and they are all the same. If I learn to work with one software, I know that I will learn about others. And there is also change management. There is the data analytics, like to work with data and everything. So I think these are the most required, and of course process improvements, because to bring efficiency and to increase productivity, you need to help with tools. They can be technical tools, and you need to review your process, because not all the time we're gonna improve, maximize our efficiency just with tools. No, we can just avoid purchasing a new tool, and by just reviewing our process, our current process.
What challenges do you foresee in the fields of legal operations in the near future? How do you believe these challenges can be overcome, and what strategies can help address them?
This is a very good question. So in terms of challenges, maybe I would say legal, it's good and bad at the same time, because because the legal industry is facing a pivotal point, is in a pivotal point with AI, with the like the economic situation and everything. And so the legal teams and like all the legal stakeholders, like they can be lawyers, they can be law firms, legal departments, they face challenges. They face a lot of challenges, like, for example, workload, understaffing of the teams, an urgent ask from the executive leadership team to do more with less, or just to do more with what you have, with the resources available right there. So I think I see like the challenge is that the legal operations will be in the center of everything. So for example, AI, who gonna work with AI? Of course, lawyers, but who gonna implement it? Who gonna implement it? Who gonna build procedures for legal or guidelines or playbooks for working with AI? It's gonna be legal ops. Who gonna be the training? Who gonna be the technical contact person? It's legal ops. So I see that this is the challenge that I personally see, and I saw lot of general counsels, because I attended webinars in this specific subject, where general counsels point out legal ops as their go-to person for everything else than legal.
So what's the question do you receive most often in your inbox from people looking to get into the field?
I think the first one is how they want to know how I made it to legal ops. So they want to learn more about my experience, my journey, my career paths. The second one is they ask if there is any course I did enroll to work in legal ops. So this question comes a lot. And the third one is the skills. What are the skills required to help me get a job in legal ops?
How, as a traditional lawyer, can I pitch for legal operations position?
The first thing, this is a very good question. The first thing to keep in mind is that you are a lawyer. So you are a lawyer who, once you will work in legal ops, you're gonna help lawyers. So you're gonna work with your peers. So you know their language, you speak their language, you know their needs, you have been there. So this is your first strength, is that it's just that you're gonna just move to the other side, so and this is how I pitched myself. I remember I said in my first job interview, I said I am not, and they asked me this question. They asked me, why you are not interested anymore in practicing law? And this question, just keep in mind that you will have it as well. And I said, I tried the requalification process, but I failed. And I am grateful that I failed, because this is, at the end of the day, I was not designed for the legal practice, and I am more for the legal projects, the legal processes, the streamlining of our like day-to-day work and everything. And I was an in-house counsel. I was in your place a few months ago, or a few years ago. I was working in your place, and the challenges I will help you with today, I used to have them a few years ago. So I thought, when you say something, when you will complain about a problem, I will understand you, because I've been your place.
Could you tell what other questions are the most common during the interviews for the position of legal operations?
Very, very good question. And I would answer based on our current profile, like all of us, because all of us are internationally trained lawyers. So we are legal professionals. So the first thing they will tell you why you want to leave the legal practice. This is the first thing, because I've been asked this question in my legal ops specialist position and in my legal ops and technology manager position. I remember one of the panelists asked me, I have a question for you. Are you planning to requalify to become a licensed lawyer in Canada? And I said, no, thank you. And she was like, she laughed a lot. She said, okay, thank you. Yeah, because I explained, of course, I was very honest, I was very transparent, and I explained that yes, I was practicing in my home country, and then I tried the requalification process, and I found like the process very hard for me, and I am very grateful I am in the legal ops space, because this is something I was enjoying more while practicing in-house. And then the other question is why legal ops? Like they would really know why you are interested in legal ops, or why this specific position. What did you like, or what do you think about this specific position? And also, how do you know the legal, like how are you familiar with the legal operations field? Because they are not sure if the candidate already has some knowledge about legal ops, if not, because again, as I said, the maturity level of the industry is not that high, you know. And another question is, for example, do you have experience? Of course, if they were requiring about being tech savvy or having experience with tools and softwares without specifying them, they will just ask you what kind of softwares did you use in the past. And I personally, I am always honest, and I share with them, and then they say, for example, do you know, I would say iManage, for example. iManage is the documents and email management system. And I would say, I know the name, like I've already heard the name, but I really don't know what it is exactly. And I didn't have a chance to work with it. And then I would turn back the question and I say, is this really required? To like that I specifically know this software? And then they would say two options. They would say not that much, but we prefer that the candidate knows this specific tool, for example, because we don't have someone who gonna train them on that. This is very plausible, and this is fair. And then they would say, no, we are just curious to know what kind of systems you used in the past. And just think about all the systems you worked with. There could be sales, there could be case management, there could be contract management, everything. Just put them because all systems work the same. Like all systems work the same.